I'll tell you the story I was told. Now remember, as I'm reading this, this is Stephen talking. I may not get all the details right, but that's okay. Then we'll get to the story within the story. The story as told by Uncle Al. It was in the late 50s when most of the kids had left home, and Pappy and Mom, along with Jim and I, moved to upstate New York. It was mid to late October. We arrived on a Thursday and went to our new school the next day. That day we were having a spelling bee, and I was told that I could participate. Well, soon all the kids had failed to correctly spell a word, leaving this little girl in me. Our old lady teacher gave me my word, so I spelled it. T-H-E-A-T-E-R, theater. You know, Stephen, she said, oh, okay. You know, he's talking now. You know, Stephen, she said, loud buzzer sound, that's wrong. And I said, well, you can spell it T-H-E-A-T-R-E, theater, the English way. Again, she said, wrong. Then she turned to the little girl and gave her some lame, stupid word like cat or dog, and said that she won the spelling bee. I should have won that spelling bee and the prize. Now this is Al talking. Do you know what the prize was? A pack of juicy fruit gum and a dime. I'm mad about that. You know, that teacher was a real hag, Steve. She was an old hag.
That's true.
Like I mentioned, as I mentioned previously, I heard this story again on the 4th of July as Uncle Al manned the grill, and he had the same passion in telling the story this time as he had 3 months later, or earlier. Now, the rest of the story. We went to Dad's for Thanksgiving, that Dad is me in this case, and we're playing games, probably Scrabble. It was Friday, and I was trying to recollect what word Uncle Al was buzzed out on. Apparently, Dad had not heard the spelling bee story. I said, you know, I'll just give Uncle Al a call and ask him what that word was. Well, I caught Uncle Al. This is too much. Well, I caught Uncle Al on his cell phone with Barbara. They had just left Sue's house, having been there for Thanksgiving. I asked him what the word was, and he told me verbatim, T-H-E-A-T-E-R, theater. Or you can spell it the English way, T-H-E-A-T-R-E. So I followed up and asked him how Sue was. He briefly replied, fine, and then said, listen, Stephen, that teacher was a real hag. And I said something like, oh, how's Barbara? Al said, well, she's good. Listen, Stephen, getting back to this lady. I mean to tell you, this old lady was a real hag. I realized the full weight of the juicy fruit and how wrong Uncle Al had been. Well, we would like to see that justice. We would like to see that justice served tonight. Wrong is righted, and that Uncle Al's burden can now be lifted after more than 5 decades. This time, I'd like to ask Uncle Al to come forward. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you 2 awards here now. Don't peek it. Okay. This one right here to Uncle Al, spelling bee. This certificate has been awarded to Alvin Graves for outstanding achievement in spelling, awarded June 17th. We decided to do it 9 days early. And signed Stephen L. Graves. So that's yours. You have to start first. So cheapy here. We're doing this on the cheap. Okay. Now here's another one to Uncle Al, or to Al Graves, for his distinct. This is Stephen talking. I'm talking for Steve. For this distinct accomplishment in carrying on the proud Graves tradition and demonstrating extraordinary spelling, exemplary mastery in the various spellings and origins of theater, and underlined in heavy print, bearing the weight of not being recognized as the superior speller in the spelling bee. So there you are. Now, you're going to have to frame those. awarded,
No wonder
not
he's
yet,
so
not yet. To Uncle Al, awarded 10 cents.
Adjusted for inflation.
And the Consumer Price Index for 54 years. Subtracting 8 years, 1993 to 2001, for the Clinton years of prosperity. $2. Remember, he didn't get the juicy fruit either. We didn't want to give him just a stick or a pack. We got him, this one has, I think, 25 or 50 or something. It's got a bunch of gum in it. Very warm. We're going to ask Al if he would to briefly tell us
The story?
the story in your own
No, I'm not going to. Do you know the rest of the story?
The rest of the story.
Dad went out to work Friday night and discovered that along the St. Lawrence Seaway, St. Lawrence River, bordering Canada and New York State, that sometimes in late October, it gets cold. He discovered it. So he started welding, and it came a sleeting hailstorm, or rain, whatever. And he froze to death and was shocked a few times. So Saturday, when he came home, he said, and I will repeat exactly, as soon as that sun comes, he's getting my, we're moving to South Carolina. On Sunday. He moved from LaPorte, Texas to New York and stopped by your place on the way and ate traded dogs. We were at Bob's house and we had a Chinese pug by the name of Chink.
Politically
We stayed all night alongside of Austin, Texas, in a truck ran over Chink. We worked Dad worked one night.